Our next guest is a great storyteller with another critically acclaimed one-man show that explores life, death, and vacation rentals.
So we move into an Airbnb, which, by the way, no breakfast, which is one of the letters. This is a wildly misleading acronym. It's like if you showed up to an AA meeting and they're like, we're live streaming, and you're like, I had heard it was sort of a private thing, and they're like, pop open a wine cooler, we're gonna dish some goss.
The Old Man in the Pool premieres November 21st on Netflix. Say hello to Mike Birbiglia.
Almost not get my name right.
You know,
We've known
weird.
each other so many years.
You know why I think I'm having trouble with your name tonight? Because also I got Devin Gilfillian.
Oh,
and
yes.
Gilfillian and Birbiglia is just too difficult a combination for me on one night.
No, I get it wrong sometimes.
I'm glad to see you. The last time you were here, I wasn't here because I got COVID.
I was performing the show that you just played a clip from called The Old Man in the Pool at Steppenwolf in Chicago. And I was flying in on Southwest Airlines, and I get a text from you, and you said, I may have COVID. And I go, I'm so sorry. And then 5 minutes later, you texted, do you want to host the show instead of being a guest on The True Story? And I said, absolutely. And then a few minutes later, you texted, you are hosting the show. And true story, a few minutes later, you wrote, you are interviewing Tom Cruise. And there's more. 5 minutes after that, you wrote, Tom Cruise has canceled. Which apparently he viewed it as some kind of step down. But he just doesn't do all his own stunts. He viewed the leap from Kimmel to Birbiglia to be too far.
Yeah, well, I don't know. Maybe he just felt there was COVID going around this room, but...
But it was a blast.
You were great. You did a great job. You did 3 nights, not just the one night.
Yes.
Did you get a lot of response from doing that?
So much. I mean, I can't even imagine that this is your life all the time, because everyone came out of the woodwork from my past and my childhood. And I remember talking to my parents were watching the show, and I said to my mom one night, I go, so what do you think? I'm hosting the show. She goes, it's a hard job. I said, Mom, I'm looking for the compliment in this. And it wasn't there. No, for real, it wasn't there. And then your producer said you should interview, it was Mother's Day. She goes, you should interview your mom on the show video chat. And so I interviewed my mom, and I go, Mom, what do you think what was I like as a kid? Was I funny? And she goes, no. She goes, you comedians are so serious. I go, you comedians? Well, how many comedians do you know? I mean, are you texting Ronnie Chang? Are you on an email thread with Roy Wood Jr.? Like, she doesn't know a lot of comedians. We live in central Massachusetts.
She's extrapolating from you.
Yeah, I guess so. But it was really fun. And then I did the show, The Old Man in the Pool, and a lot of it, my parents, it's coming out on Netflix. Yeah. They're gonna see it for the first time.
I wanted to ask you about that because there was one thing in particular, and I got to go see the show live when you were here in LA, and it's just great.
Oh, thanks.
There's one thing in particular that I was wondering about then, and I'm still wondering about, I wanted to ask you about it, which is you claim that, and I believe you.
You claim
it's
that.
not much of a claim, but it's a claim, and it's probably true that your family, they don't say I love you to each other.
True story.
Which is, to me, like as an Italian, as a fellow Italian-American, seems very not Italian at all, right?
They say, instead of I love you, they say take care.
Take care.
And it's not the same. It's almost a passive-aggressive command. Like, I'm gonna need you to do something for me. Take care, you know what I mean? one time I actually built up the courage. I said to my mom, I called my mom for Mother's Day. I go, Mom, I really appreciate you. And there was a long silence on the other end for a few moments, and then she said, bye now. Yeah, bye now. But they, you know, they love me. I believe it to be true. And
You have no evidence.
I have no evidence. So was your family an I Love You family growing up?
Yeah, well, they still are. Yeah, they're
Yeah.
I Love You family. Well, it depends. In writing, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
In person, we'll go, love you. Not I love you.
Yeah.
It's much more.
It's different.
Yeah, love you is what we'll say.
This I never mentioned on the show. At one point, I said to I realized.
Whispering so your mom doesn't hear it?
What did you just say to me?
I said you're whispering so your mom doesn't hear it.
Yeah, exactly. So one time, I'm doing it again. So one time, when I was in high school, are we mic'd? No, so one time I said to my mom, I go, I said to my parents in high school, I go, so, you know, why don't you tell me you love me? Because it struck me as odd.
Yeah.
And my mom said, this is an exact quote, she goes, we do wub you.
Oh, wow.
I was like, it's not the same word. It's wub, W-U-B.
Wow.
It's closer to rug than it is to love.
That's interesting. I
Yeah.
wonder what happened, like, when they got married, when they exchanged wows. I mean, what happened?
Yeah, no, they don't, yeah. And now I don't feel bad even talking about it. But and it's with the special, they're definitely going to see it. I mean,
Yeah.
one of the,
Oh, they haven't seen your show yet?
No.
Oh, wow.
I know.
Yeah.
I know, it's an odd
Are you
one.
sure they're really your parents?
No, I mean, I have no real evidence. I mean, but I will say, like, when they like some comedy, like they like Ray Romano,
Okay.
right?
All right.
So, like, they've watched, like, every episode of Everyone Loves Raymond, and then he came to Old Man in the Pool on Broadway. And I was like, hey, my parents love you. Do you mind just making a video of my parents saying hi? I sent it to my parents, and they wrote back, who is that? So I'm like, maybe they just don't like comedy. Maybe the whole thing's a ruse.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Isn't that great?
Well, well, this is interesting, I think, because you're very productive. You got this special coming out on Netflix, and you already have another whole show ready to go on.
Yeah, Please
on the
Stop
road.
the Ride. Yeah.
Please Stop the Ride, it's called.
Yeah.
It's where you're going to start it when?
In Boston in December, and then I go to Seattle and Vancouver and Walla Walla and all these places.
And Walla Walla is a special place because you had an incident.
Yeah,
there.
so if you haven't seen my movie Sleepwalk with Me many years ago, I sleepwalked through a second-story window of a La Quinta Inn in Walla Walla, Washington. True story, and you can laugh. I was later diagnosed with a rare sleep disorder called REM, sleep behavior disorder. So now when I go to bed at night, I take medication. I sleep in a sleeping bag up to my neck, and I wear mittens so I can't open the sleeping bag. And that's my life. You gotta have a sense of humor about the whole thing.
So will you go back to that La Quinta Inn when you're in Walla Walla?
I'm not gonna stay there. I think I'll visit though. There's a plaque.
We have a photograph of the plaque commemorating on this day.
It says,
Like Birbiglia sleepwalked out the window.
yeah, January 26, 2005. Seriously, Google it. And what's odd is that some of my fans actually go and they stay in that room where I jumped through the second-story window, which is a very odd monument. Like, you don't usually go to people's medical catastrophes as like a tourist attraction, but I'm into it. I think it's great.
It's fun, right?
I like it, yeah.
Well, it's great to see you. The
Love
show
it.
is hilarious. It's
Thanks.
called The Old Man in the Pool.
Yeah.
It premieres November 21st on Netflix. And Mike, I want to tell you something. I love you.
I love you too.
All right. See, there we go. Mike Birbiglia, everybody. See how easy it is? We'll be back with Devin Gilfillian.